Hey, in this video I'm going to show you how you can create a single Java class to hold for all AppLovin ad formats, so that whenever you want to integrate ads in your app, you just have to call that single class, and then you just specify the ad format you want to load. So this will save you time, and you can just load ads across different activities or different apps just using just one line of code. So this is how I do it in my own app. So this is an empty activity I just created to demonstrate how this works, and this is the AppLovin ads class I created for my app. And as you see, I take a context and an activity, and that's all I need to load the full screen ads, like the app open ads, the interstitial ads, and the rewarded ads. And then also I take a frame layout whenever I want to load like a banner ad or a native ad. So this is how it works. Now here I'm going to show you how it works. So I'm going to create an object of this class, like AppLovin ads, can call it ads, equal to new AppLovin ads. Then here I have to pass the context and the activity. For example, here the context is this and the activity is also this. So by doing this, now I can use the ads object, for example, to load. You see, let me see the exact methods I use here. I have the enter method, just I called it enter. So if I do it like this, dot enter, this will load the interstitial ad, and this is interesting. So in any activity I want to show an interstitial ad, I just load it using this method, and then I can also show the interstitial ad whenever I want to show it by calling add dot show enter. When I am sure the ad is loaded, I can show it using this method. Do you see, it makes life easy? Whenever I want to integrate ads in a new app, I just have to copy this Java class and paste it in the other app, and do the same thing across all my apps and all ad formats. And you see, this is an easy thing to do. So in this video, that's what we are going to look at, and you'll be able to integrate it also in your own apps. So let's get started. First of all, let's create okay, I'm not going to create an another Android Studio project, since on this channel I have already shared with you some of the AppLovin SDK integration guides, and we used some app. Where is it? Here, AppLovin ads. I'm going to continue using this project, and if you want to know how we came up with all of this, make sure you check the link in the description, the full playlist. And beginning with this, I'm going to create a class, so a new Java class, and this is the class that we will use to do all the work. Let me just call it AppLovin ads. I just call it this, and you can call it any name of your choice. So this is the class is created here, and what we need to show ads, we need a context and an activity. So I'm going to create a private context, and I call it context. So I use alt and enter to import the class. Then I also create an activity, and call it activity, just like this. Okay, and once we have this in place, now we need a constructor that will will receive the context and the particular activity that we are on to be able to load the ads. So let's create a constructor of this class. So public AppLovin ads, and this constructor will be taking a context and an activity, and then an activity. Then as soon as the constructor is called, we want to initialize, okay, instantiate this context here. This context, we want to take the value that is passed from the activity calling the AppLovin ads class, and then we equate this context to this one that we are receiving. So to do that, and this dot context equal to context. So this what it does. This dot context refers to this one up here, and then this one is this one. So we do the same for the activity. Okay, so once this is in place, now we shall be able to use this context that we received from the activity calling the AppLovin ads class outside of the constructor. So one more thing we have to do now inside the constructor, as soon as the constructor is called, I want to initialize the AppLovin SDK. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to log into my AppLovin dashboard, then I go to the Max mediation docs, and then we shall go get the code from there to make the whole process easy. So this is, let me just log in. And please, if you were new to AppLovin, make sure that you watch the full playlist. The link is in the description if you want to understand better. So this is the other app that we are using, and the whole of setting up the ads in an AppLovin app, all the videos are fully explained on that playlist. Okay, now on the AppLovin dashboard, go to the mediation docs. Then choose Android, and soon here on the getting started, you see you have to add the dependency. We already did that in our previous videos. So what I'm looking for here is the SDK initialization. So I'm going to initialize the SDK. Here's the code. Okay, and this the context here I'm going to pass dot context, put the classes, okay. So that is always with the constructor. And now let's start by looking at how we can create a class for loading how we can create the method for loading the banner ads. So starting, I'm going to here on the sidebar, go to add formats, and then banners. So you have loading and showing banners programmatically, and this is what we are going to use. So create this void create banner ad method, and paste it here, and I just remove this closing bracket since it is not needed, and then import the classes. So we have to create an add view, but before that, let me just remove this thing here. I don't need it. And then we have to create an add view and modify some few things here. So let's create them. So we have private max add view, and we call it add view. The next thing is, okay, just this class, we import it, and then here add view dot set listener, where it says this, I'm going to remove all of this code. since it is referring to this context and I don't want to implement the listeners this way, I want to set the listener manually. So here where it says rv.set listener, remove this and pass new max add view listener. Okay, and this will be easier than doing that. And now the height in pixels, we have to use this method get resources, and get resources has to be called using a context. So the context here is what we will use to call this method. So I say this dot context dot get resources like this. So if you don't know how we are doing this, you may get an error here. But if you get an error here, make sure that you watch our video where we integrated the max banner ad, so that you'll be able to set up the banner height in dimensions attributes in your XML files. Okay, and then the set layout params. Okay, just import this class, and then the add view, the background color of the add view, I'm going to use a color black that is already in my resources. Values, colors, you can add your own color, but since I don't have black, okay, I have black here, and I'm going to use this color. If you want, you can set your own color. So I'm going to use black as the background color of the add view. So to set the background color, I'm going to use this dot context dot get resources. Okay, let me just use get color, then r dot color dot black. See an error here. Okay, if you are running on, and if your project is targeting Android 4 or 5 and below, make sure that this method won't work exactly like this. So we have to first use get resources, then dot get color, and it works this way. Okay, and now you see we are going to use a frame layout to show our ad. So what we are going to do now is to create a frame layout object. But before that, let me first see I'll make this method public so that you can access it from any activity in your project. And then the add unit ID, we shall put here our add unit ID from the AppLovin dashboard. Then the add view, the context will be this dot context. Okay, so we also need a frame layout, and the frame layout, I will put it inside here. Create banner ad, frame layout. So we will receive this frame layout from the activity that is calling this create banner ad method. So the add unit ID, we get it from the AppLovin dashboard. So here on my dashboard, go to max add units, and please, telling you again, if it's your first time to watch this video, make sure that you have already watched those videos where we integrated the SDK and created all these banner ad units IDs. So I'm going to take this one that we used in the other tutorials, and I will put it here. I think the what we have to do now is to add this view to the frame layout that you are getting passed in here. So this frame layout, we add the view before loading the ad. So here I get frame layout dot add view, then we pass in our add view object like this. So now let's go to an activity where we would like to show this banner ad, and then we test and see if it is working. just arrange the code. So this is loading the banner ad. Let's look at our main activity. I'm going to remove all of this code. Okay, initial and empty activity looks like this, and then also the main activity XML file. Let's remove this code. Now we are going to create a frame layout. So I'm using a relative layout, and I want to place this banner ad at the bottom. So what I do, create a frame layout, height the width match parent, then the height I rate it to wrap content. I give it an ID, banner ad container, and then I align it to parent bottom so that it shows exactly at the bottom of the screen. Okay, this is all for the layout. Now let's go to our main activity, and we are going to instantiate an object of the AppLovin ads class. To new AppLovin ads, and this method takes the context, which is this, and the activity. Okay, now what we do, we also instantiate the frame layout. Banner ad container. So don't worry about this red line, it's just a problem with my Android Studio. So now I want to call the create banner ad method, this one here, and I will pass the frame layout that we have exactly here in our activity. So if I say AppLovin ads dot create banner ad, and I pass our frame layout, this one should automatically load and show the ad. So in any activity where you want to show a banner ad, just create a frame layout that will hold it and place it at your favorite position, then call this AppLovin ads to create banner ad, and to populate the frame layout for you with the ad of with the ad corresponding to the ad unit ID that you want to load. So let's build and run our application and see how it goes. So our app is up running, and here you see wow, the ad is loaded successfully. Okay, so this is the banner ad. Now let's move to the interstitial ad. So back to our AppLovin ads.java class, and down here I'm going to create another class for loading the interstitial ad. So I go back to the mediation docs. I want to copy the code, interstitials, and then have create interstitial, and here we have the max interstitial ad object. So let me first take this one and put it up here and import the class, and down here is where I'm going to paste this void create interstitial ad method. So I make this method public and set the replace this one with the interstitial add unit ID. From here we have the add units interstitial, copy this and then press it there, and the activity is this dot activity. Okay, now we have a listener, that is this. We can either do the same way we did with the banner ad, setting it manually, but this since that can take time, I'm just going to implement the ad listener. So our public class AppLovin ads implements max ad listener. This one is the one that listens for interstitial callbacks. So now let's check on if there are other errors. We have to import this class, then we have to create also an object for, let's create an object for the retry attempt. So up here let's say int try attempt, like that. And I think most of the errors are gone. We are left with one error here. Okay, we implement this. And I think this is all. So now we need a method that we will call when we want to show the interstitial ad. So I'm going to create it here, public void show interstitial ad. And here I'm just going to copy and paste the code from here. And that's all. So now let's see this working in our main activity. I'm going to, since I have already initialized this AppLovin ads object, I'm not going to do this again. So since we are in the same activity, down here I'm going to load the ad as soon as the app opens. So it's AppLovin ads dot create interstitial ad, and this will load our interstitial ad immediately when the onCreate method is called. So I need a button that I will use to show the ad, or I can do it here in the create interstitial ad listener. When the ad is loaded, I just show it. So here on ad loaded, I will call show interstitial ad. This is for simplicity, but make sure that in your own app you set it appropriately. So on ad loaded, you can create a boolean flag that will help you to determine whether the ad is loaded or not, and then you can call the show interstitial ad on a click of the button in a main activity or so. So let's run the app and see if it works. So the activity is open now, so the ad should load and show. Yeah, so this is it about the interstitial ad. Then next we are going to look at the native ad. So back to our AppLovin.ads AppLovin ads file. Then we go back to the mediation docs and click on the native, this one of native templates. Scroll down and look at loading a native ad. So we need these two data members that we have to include in our AppLovin ads class. So up here I paste them and import this class Okay, now take this back to the bottom here, and this is where I'm going to put a method for loading the native ad. So here, void create native ad, copy the whole of this. So make sure that the method is public. I do this because you may need to call this method from an activity that is not listed in the same directory as these files, and you may get access modifier restrictions. So now, frame layout here, native ad loader, we are seeing this, but what I'm going to do is to get a frame layout and receive it from the activity that is calling the load create native ad method. So to do that, we include it as a parameter in our method call. So we'll delete this, and then what you do, put the listener, then the context is this dot context, put the class. So we have here native ad container that remove all views, but our native ad container is the frame layout. We can either modify up here, or we just, let's modify up here just for simplicity, since we have a frame layout name for the loading banner ads to may confuse us. So let's call this native ad container up here, and then this will, okay. So this is all I think for loading a native ad, and you see how simple it is. So if I call, I'm just going to remove this one, comment it out. So I call AppLovin ads dot load create native ad, and I'm going to use this frame layout that we are using for the banner ads. So I also comment out this create banner method, then AppLovin ads dot create native ad, and I'll use this same frame layout. But remember, for the native ad, it may have a height. If you don't limit the height, it can fill up the whole screen and to create a bad user experience to your app user. So let's come back to our main activity, and then this frame layout we created earlier, we are going to set the height to about 250 dp. Okay, so this is the height. I think this is fine for the tutorial. So let's build and run our app and see if it works out. Yeah, that's the ad, and it is working out very well. So now the next thing we are going to look at, I think, what's left. Okay, rewarded video and display ads. So I'll just comment out this. I don't want to write a lot of code in this video. So now I think what is left are the rewarded ads. Of course, I think the app open ads cannot be implemented this way. I haven't done it myself. So for the rewarded ads, you check that video in the the full playlist of the AppLovin ads on the video description below. And now let's look at the rewarded ads and see how we can place this kind of ads in our Java class also. So copy these data members and also bring them up here. So the retry attempt here is going to be different because we already have a retry attempt for the interstitial ads, and if you use the same the same name for the native ads, it's going to create a conflict between the two. So I'm going to create this one, native retry attempt. I mean rewarded retry attempt. And as soon as I bring this code down here, I have to change it to. So create rewarded ad here, like this. So we import this class. So the retry attempt we are going to use here is the native, I mean the rewarded retry attempt. And here also remember to change it. Where else? I think it is only here that we are using this retry attempt. And here we are also using it, so we change it. And make this method public. So since we are using a listener as this will refer to this specific Java class. I'm going to also implement the max rewarded add listener. So to do that, since we already have a max add listener here, put a comma and then write max rewarded add listener. So this way, to make it easier and we don't have to write a lot of code. I see this it seems to be creating a conflict. So what I'm going to do, let's remove this one and we add it manually inside the So come here where we are creating the native the rewarded ad, then copy the whole of this code up to here. I'm going to cut it from here, and here you say new max rewarded ad listener. Then I will replace everything that is generated inside with the code that I just copied and paste it in here. Yeah, and this one works for us. Then here the activity is this dot activity, and the add unit ID is this one here. We already did that in the previous videos of creating the AppLovin rewarded ad and integrating adding the app to the AppLovin dashboard. But if you don't know how to do this, make sure you check out the other videos. The link is in the description. So we put our add unit ID, and then yeah, this should be all. Even though in the native ad I forgot to replace it with the add unit ID, but make sure you do that. If you don't do that, it won't work for live ads. It's just working here because we are using test ads. So after exiting test mode, you won't be able to use it if you don't set an add unit ID correctly. Okay, now I need a method to show our rewarded ad. So the ad is created. Now we need to see how we can show this ad. So I'm going to create a public method, public void show rewarded ad. And in here, bring this code from the AppLovin dashboard here, showing a rewarded ad. Copy it and paste it there. So whenever you want to show a rewarded ad, call this method. And then when you want to reward a user after viewing a rewarded ad, you have to get the reward of that particular rewarded ad from here. For example, if the reward you set is maybe like in units measured, you use the integer as a method. You can say like int reward equal to, you have to use this max reward object. So max reward dot get amount. So this is how you will retrieve the reward that is going to be given to a user after viewing your rewarded ad. And the reward, you set it in the AppLovin dashboard like this. So on your ads, go to the app, go to app discovery, then applications. Initially it is like this on the all app, so click on this that app that you are implementing the ads in and come here down, so you can set the reward amount here. So now we are going to go back to our main activity. We try to load and show the rewarded ad and see if it works out. So we're still using this AppLovin ads object. So down here I'm going to create AppLovin ads dot create rewarded ad like this. So when the ad is created, I want to show it immediately, and like I already did for the interstitial ad, I will just show it immediately it is loaded. I don't have to create a button or what to show it. So down here I'm going to go show rewarded ad. And once again, remember to show the rewarded ad where appropriately in your app. You don't have to show the ad like immediately it is loaded. The way I'm doing it, this is just for testing purposes. So let's build and run the app again. So I'm waiting for the ad to be loaded and show. Congratulations, so you are seeing a test ad. Yeah, and this is it. This is all for this video. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I will try to reply to all of your comments and answer all your questions. And if you have a recommendation or a specific video that you would like to request, also do that by leaving a comment in the comment section below. Okay, so see you in the next video, and bye. So as a quick reminder, if you want to see live ads in your app, make sure that you use the device that you are not using as a test device, or go to your AppLovin dashboard and remove your device as a test device. Okay, so if you feel like this video you don't understand it well, please make sure that you first watch our first videos where we integrated the AppLovin SDK and did all the other video ad formats separately. Yeah, that will be of much help. And if you like the video, make sure you give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.